So Isayama Sensei had scheduled 15 minutes in his schedule to meet me and talk to me, which was such an honor to be able to do that.
Cool.
And I told him, hey, I haven't read the manga. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm in love with your work and this story and what it's the effect it's had on all of the people who have connected with it and watched it. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. And all he said was, Eren knows more than you. And that is the best answer.
Mic drop. Mic drop.
Answer.
Coming to you from Crunchyroll HQ, this is The Anime Effect. Each week, we bring you the latest news and views from the shows you love. It's pop culture with an anime lens. Guys, today, we have a very special guest joining us.
Oh, tell me about it.
Legendary voice actor Bryce Papenbrook.
Let's go.
Is joining The Anime Effect.
Let's go.
If you have seen the English dubs for Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Sword Art Online, and
All
1,000 other shows that you love, then you've heard his voice. Honestly, if you've seen any dubs, there's a big chance you've heard Bryce.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are talking all about his iconic roles, testing his knowledge of his own career with a fun little game. And you guys will definitely want to stick around for that in our main story this week. But first, we have to talk about our girl Miku's back.
Let's go.
Miku never leaves,
Miku is having a year.
I know. Hatsune Miku is collaborating with Magic the Gathering.
Ooh.
We've
So sick.
got an update on how the HAIKYU dumpster battle movie is crushing it at the Japan box office.
Heck yeah.
And updates from Crunchyroll at CCXP Mexico. Y'all, Crunchyroll went big this year.
Ham.
Yeah.
Banana ham sandwich.
Their booth this year is one of the most like insane things that I have ever seen. It's like a big Sakura tree. Like,
yeah, dude, it's insane.
It looked incredible. And yeah, I regret to inform you that I'm your host, Nick Friedman.
I'm LeAlec Murray.
And I'm so sorry, Leah President.
I love the idea of us just like apologizing and introducing.
Here we are. I'm sorry.
And you know, I mean, guys, you know what we're here to do. We're here with the fans at home and Bryce later to see just how powerful the effect of anime really is.
One of these days, that was good.
Gorgeous. Was that good?
Yeah, man.
One of these days, which is funny because I was just going to say, one of these days we need to do like a barbershop quartet, like harmonized, like, really is, you know? And then do the, like the jazz circle where they click the heels and they're like, diddle, diddle, diddle.
Oh my gosh.
Wild.
So, okay. So Lee came into the studio this morning, which was like 5 minutes ago, and was like, y'all, I had a morning. So rather than have him explain that to us as to why he was late when we got here, he's going to tell us on the show.
Oh, yeah. L morning for your boy. So Nick and I are taking a little trip ski later. Can't let that cat out of the bag just yet, but you guys will find out.
It is.
It'll be a very special thing.
It's going to be great. But you know, I woke up super early. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give myself time because I got to gather my stuff and my packed bag.
You packed this morning?
No, dude, I packed last night.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like, I got to get my stuff together, and then I got to get my dog stuff together.
Yeah.
And then like drop him off at daycare. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have gas. So I'm like, oh man, I got to get gas. So I get gas, pulling out. Dude runs into the back of my car.
No.
And I'm like, bro, I don't need this. And I had to spend like 20 minutes explaining to him how the exchange of information works.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
like, I just want to run my head into the place that he ran into my car. No, he had insurance. He was trying to debate me saying he didn't need to give me his insurance.
That's like that's how it worked. Exchange,
you
take
exchange,
photos, leave.
You take pictures, and you leave. And he's like, hey, should we call the police? I'm like, bro, we're in the middle of Dallas. They will not get here. Like, what are you doing? We will be here all day. So, yeah, I'm speeding consciously to get.
Is there a statute of limitations for speeding if you've admitted to the crime?
To get my dog to daycare. I was lucky that the office is like 15 minutes away from the daycare. So I'm like, bro. So I'm like, yeah. And then I slid in like Eddie Kang from the 5 Heartbeats into the room. I didn't sing though. So there you go. That was my morning. That was my morning.
What a morning.
Well, I'm sorry that you experienced that. doesn't make up for the fact that you were late.
It does. It does not. I don't excuse myself
kidding.
for being
I'm
late.
just
I do
kidding.
not, because I feel horrible.
You should have been like, I have anime to do. And then,
So when I'm talking to the guy, I was basically like, hey, bro, I got to go to work. I got a show to do. I got a flight to catch later. I don't have 20 to 30 to an hour to spend with you right now. Exchange the information. And I don't want to.
take his phone, download Crunchyroll, load up One Piece, be like, all right, sit here, start with
I'll
episode
be
1,
right back.
and I'll be right back.
I'll be back. By the time I come back in a couple of days, you won't even be finished.
He will have Akuma Shadow Step back.
Next up, we are going to be talking about 2 new anime films.
Let's go.
It is going to be the year of the anime film and the year of the sports anime. We're also going to talk about my girl Miku Hatsune and her latest collab. She's also having a spectacular year. She played at Coachella this year.
Crazy.
I wish I played at Coachella this year. No, I don't. And now on the main stage, the anime effect.
Yikes.
You start doing stand-up comedy.
Hey, what's the deal with the crowd's anime?
What's up with this water line?
Anyway, and we're going to be talking about 3 new anime seasons coming to Crunchyroll. All that in just a second. All right, it is time for the news, kids. So I want to start, of course, at your leisure, Saya. I would like to start with the Miku Hatsune news because, as you know, this is dear to my heart. Vocaloid love.
One of the things that I love about our news segment on this show is that it feels like Miku has become like a category of
Basically,
news.
yeah.
Which
Now in the Miku headline.
I could not have predicted what this was. I mean, Magic the Gathering, no secret, they've been doing a bunch of collabs. Like they recently showed off, I think like a Cowboy Bebop one.
Mhm.
They've done Jurassic Park. They've done Fallout. They've done
Street Fighter. which is
Street Fighter. Yeah,
crazy.
they've done
I
just
think
a
they
ton.
did Harry Potter too.
I love that they don't take it too seriously in that way. Like, no, it has to be a knight with a sword.
Well, that's the cool
Like-
thing about like Commander Decks and Secret Lair. How much time do you have to talk about Magic the Gathering?
I don't think we have a lot of time, but
Hatsune Miku is collaborating with Magic the Gathering for a new Secret Lair set. This is kind of the like, it's kind of almost like their streetwear drops. That
Yeah.
they did a
Yeah,
Fortnite
yeah.
one that I have that.
oh
is pretty
really?
dope. So the next Secret Rare limited run for Magic is Hatsune Miku. So the first drop is called Sakura Superstar, celebrates the different seasons.
It looks awesome. All different artists on them.
Yep. There's a bunch of different card designs in both Japanese and English. There is also a music video by Miku that was
Legit.
revealed as part of this drop for
Legit.
Harmonize.
She's killing it.
It's Manbo P featuring Hatsune Miku. These cards are going to drop, let's see, next week?
Yeah.
Sounds like the
May 13th.
the first cards will be available on May 13th.
Yeah.
And there will be 3 more drops this year.
That's crazy. Because usually they only do one.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be Miku or different Vocaloids?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to check
Like a
out the
Rin or like-
designs, but
Yeah.
I also love the idea of like Vocaloids crossed over with fantasy characters.
Yeah.
Like if they do go the like sword and shield route
Yeah.
of like
Miku fights zombie.
or like riding a dragon
Yeah.
or something.
Miku fights Demon King.
No, the only card game I play is One Piece and Marvel Snap.
Yeah, same.
Shout out One Piece card game. Next up, you alluded to 2 anime films. I think we talked about them at the beginning of the show, but
Indeed.
HAIKYU, the Dumpster Battle, just crossed a 10 billion yen milestone
Insane.
at Japan box office. This is the quote official mega blockbuster line for the Japan box office.
Crazy.
It's the 15th anime film in Japan to ever hit this milestone.
That's insane.
And Toho Animation dropped a kind of commemorative video thanking fans for their support. The film hits theaters later this month.
Bro, I am so ready.
yeah.
HAIKYU high stand up.
I want to see the movie because I want to experience the like hype of it, but I
Yeah.
haven't. It's been one of my blind spots. I haven't seen the series.
It's
just-
time to dig in.
Bro, I'm speed running it right now. Like there's no way that I'm gonna go into seeing this movie without seeing the rest of the series. So I'm just like, your boy's clicking. I'm on it.
In sports anime that I have seen, the other movie we're talking about, Blue Lock the movie episode Nagi, dropped a trailer focused on the ego of Nagi and Reo.
So ready.
And if you've seen the series, their relationship is basically they played together in school. They kind of gave each other purpose in playing soccer. Very emotional, very
Mhm.
dramatic. And they hit the rocks a little
Yeah,
bit.
it hit
in
quite the
season 1
turn.
of Blue
Yeah.
Lock. There is a lot of the closest comp to Blue Lock is Survivor, where like the
for
social
sure.
game is just as important as the physical game.
Yep.
So 2.5 weeks into the film's Japanese run, it's in theaters in Japan right now. The Blue Lock movie dropped a new trailer that talked about Nagi and Reo and talks about their egos, and it has now crossed the official big hit status
Nice.
in Japan. And
Come on.
guys, Blue Lock episode Nagi hits theaters in North America June 28th from Crunchyroll.
So ready.
Dude,
I'm
the
so
1-2
ready.
punch of HAIKYU and Blue Lock in
I'm
theaters,
so ready.
like it's the summer of sports anime.
I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm so ready.
So if you guys had to guess, would you say that was all the Blue Lock news I was going to talk about this week?
I'm gonna guess no.
Blue Lock fans are eating this week. Season
We eat.
2.
They're eating.
We eat.
Season 2. Do you
I'm
just
s-
every time I do
I'm
a
so
lingo,
ready.
are you just going to be like,
It's obligatory. I have to make fun of you.
I'm
Blue-
so ready.
Blue
This is
Lock
gonna be
season
good.
2, October 2024.
Woo.
It's happening. There's not much detail beyond that, but we knew that the anime was continuing.
Mhm.
We know the movie's coming. We're rolling right into October, baby.
We're having fun.
The boys are back.
Boys
How many
are back.
volumes of manga does it have at this point?
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
I'm not sure,
Like
but I don't think it's done.
13?
Yeah, I think it's still rolling. So I mean, we
I don't
could
know.
have
Correct me if I'm wrong.
couple years
Blue
of
Lock
content.
fans.
But yeah, so that was exciting. That was kind of like late breaking for the show. So I like that we got to fit that in there. With
Got
the
to
movie.
include it.
And of course, we're going to wrap up the news segment this week with Crunchyroll at CCXP Mexico.
Mhm.
We
We had a time.
had a time.
We had a time.
we
we
weren't
weren't
there,
there,
but,
but
from
we
the
had a
pictures
time.
and from fans talking about
Vicarious.
it, it looks like there was a time and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But of course, as part of that, it was announced that 3 new series or returning series would be coming to Crunchyroll.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
tying the knot with an Amagami sister, Nina, the Starry Bride, and ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, Season 3.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Excited for that one.
Heck yeah, we're
Very
back.
excited
We're
for
back.
that one.
That's kind of the big one. So Nina and ReZero both will be airing this October.
Mhm.
Nina, the Starry Bride is a fantasy story about an orphan girl who has a striking resemblance to a recently dead princess. She finds herself becoming a princess herself. And of course, for ReZero, we have to hit the isekai button. ReZero follows Subaru, who starts his life in another world. He discovers that he can travel through time, but only when he dies.
And that boy dies a lot.
He dies a lot. And tying the knot with an Amagami sister is kind of date TBD, but heading into a little mini rom-com corner for that one.
Yeah.
But it is about orphan Uryu, who is taken in by a chief priest who allows him to stay at the Amagami shrine. But the only way for him to stay at that shrine is to, you guessed it, marry one of the 3 shrine maidens.
It's like The Bachelor.
This
Yes.
sounds like it's right up your alley, bro. Like this is you.
I mean, look, it's a rom-com. I'm in.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say.
You don't have
That's all you got
to.
to say.
You don't have to test Nick too hard. Like he's just like, oh, it looks like a rom com. I'm there.
All right, guys, it is now time to take it over to our guest of the week. I'm so excited to welcome Bryce Papenbrook, who, as Lee would say it, is in the pantheon
Mhm,
of
mhm.
the anime English dub community. So our conversation with him is next. Okay, guys, we are so excited to welcome Bryce Papenbrook onto the Anime Effect. You know, if you've watched the English dub of Attack on Titan or Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Sword Art Online, or like basically everything, countless other anime, then you have heard Bryce's incredible acting work. Thank you so much for coming on to the Anime Effect, Bryce. We're so happy to
Oh.
have you.
Very happy to be here. And for everyone who has watched those shows, thank you for listening to me scream all these years.
We appreciate it. Your Inosuke brings me so much life. I feel it's my other persona.
You know, I have so much fun recording him, so I'm so glad that it comes through. I'm glad that you feel my fun. It resonates through the
For
character.
sure.
That's
Absolutely.
just awesome.
It's
For
incredible.
sure.
Thank
So
you.
iconic. Okay, so of course you're on the Anime Effect. we like to ask a kind of like a icebreaker opening question to our guests. So we want to know, what was your gateway anime? So what really brought you to interact with the medium for the first time?
Yeah, I grew up in the days of Pokemon, Sailor Moon, and Dragon Ball. I think it was Dragon Ball Z that really got me hooked on anime in general. My first love was martial arts, and my mom started me when I was about 5 years old because I was kind of small, and she wanted me to learn how to defend myself, and I just fell in love with martial arts. And I was one of those kids who would watch Dragon Ball Z and then go to karate and try to go Super Saiyan just in the back. One of those kids. It never worked. I'm still trying to this day. I just can't make it happen. But I think that's what it was that really connected me to the genre. And over the years, there's just been so many shows that have been incredible. And it's just so cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, It is no secret that you are a staple in not just the anime English dub community, but the anime industry as a whole, right? Like, people know Bryce Papenbrook. And I know you talked a bit about Dragon Ball and Pokemon, but what draws you to voice acting in anime specifically, as opposed to maybe other animated projects?
Yeah, there's just something special about the stories that are coming out of Japan, and as part of the medium as a whole. They're just unique, and they just tend to be different than some of the stories that we've seen in other TV shows and movies. And they're just so good, especially modern anime. I've just been really sucked in as a fan. And as an actor, like, it's very freeing being part of these shows. You can step in the booth and kind of be anything. And for me, I feel like I've been very lucky with my lot in the voice acting world. My voice hasn't changed since middle school, which is so helpful because I fall right in that young hero sound.
Yep.
I've recently been working on a show that's been away for quite some time, a show called Blue Exorcist. We went back and listened to my voice reference from 12 years ago, because that's when we first recorded Rin Okumura. And I was like, Rin to me is very similar to just my speaking voice. And I heard myself 12 years ago and I'm like, why do I sound so old? Like, I've aged the wrong way. I've Benjamin Button voice acting disease. Like, what is going on? So landing in that kind of vocal range has put me in the position to play some really, really cool characters and go on those adventures with those characters, which I just love.
That's awesome. I also have to give a shout out to the second time Benjamin Button has been referenced on
the show,
this podcast.
We're obsessed.
I've never seen the whole movie. Anyway,
I don't think I have either, to be honest. I know enough of it. So you obviously are, because we talked about how big in the anime community you are, and you've been around the conventions and you've run the con circuit. But what is the most memorable fan interaction you've had, and or the strangest line a fan has asked you to say in your character voices?
I'm looking forward to this one.
I've been so fortunate to travel all around the world and meet so many different types of fans. And for voice actors, it's so special to do that because we work in these soundproof rooms by ourselves. You pour your heart into the mic and you hope someone hears it on the other side. So going to those events is like a voice actor's applause. You brought up Inosuke earlier. So, I mean, I have so many stories I could tell, but Inosuke's on the mind. So I'll tell you a memorable one around Inosuke. I mean, he's all about training. And Inosuke has become gym motivation for so many people. But I think motivating cosplay and cosplay of him has been what's so memorable. I've had people come up to me and say, dudes that are just massive, ripped, in shape, like, hey, I watched this show. I really wanted to cosplay as your character, and I started working out because of you screaming at me from the show.
Wow.
And
just playing it in the headphones. Like,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
incredible.
I mean, absolutely incredible that me, having fun in the booth, just letting my anger out. And I have a trick. I'll share the trick with you guys too. It's dark, disgusting coffee. Like black tar in a cup. You know, the kind that's so bitter it makes you angry. I always have this black sludge with me. I take a sip and I'm just like, and that's Inosuke. So, you know, black sludge, caffeinated anger has motivated someone to show up shirtless in front of a crowd and yell at me too.
Yeah. What's the best show you've been to? Is somebody that's been to a lot of conventions we all have. Like, what's the best one that you've been to?
The energy.
Yeah.
It is so difficult to make them to make them fight. I get these battles all over my career. There's battles. Like I go to these events and people are like, if all your characters were to fight in your head, who would win? I'm like, you want that battle to go on in my head? Like it would always end with
voices.
Yeah,
they want to break
all yelling at each other at all times. So I'm really bad at picking favorites. Like so. I've had so many amazing experiences all over the world, and every time I think this is the coolest moment, like like another cool moment happens, and I have a hard time just choosing. But I'll go back to like the first experience because that was I think a very memorable one. It was Anime Expo way back in the day. I had never been a guest at an event. And the show that got me invited to a panel was a show called Durarara. If you remember, if you haven't seen Durarara, oh, you got to go back and watch. It's so good. I play a character called Maso Mikita, the ladies' man. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So this was back in the day when you would go in and actually see people to audition. You weren't just like throwing your voice into the void and hoping something comes back. So I went into the studio and I was with my wife at the time. She never came to the studio with me. So I was like trying to show off. I was like, I'm just going to like walk in here and like read these things and like book this role. It's going to be awesome. I was so nervous inside. And it was exactly like that character, exactly like Masaomi. So I took that like feigned confidence into the booth with me. And it was him. It came through in the performance. So I did the same thing when I went to this panel. I just like pretended I was Masaomi. And I walk up on stage and 2,500 people are in the audience. The room was absolutely packed. But I was up on stage with people I had looked up to, like Steve Bloom and Yuri Lowenthal and Crispin Freeman, like all these amazing actors. And they were just crushing it on stage. And I just, pretended to be like those guys and let Maso Mikita shine through and had a great time. And that's when I kind of fell in love with that experience, with that piece of what is now the industry of being able to enjoy being with the fans and celebrate these awesome shows with them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is really cool to hear that side of it and your experience. So on the other side of the coin, you said like in the booth, when I first met you, you were down here at Crunchyroll HQ about to record Eren's final line for Attack on Titan.
Yes.
So obviously I'm a huge fan. I've got my Attack on Titan swag on today, of course. So how can I not?
Choice.
But what I want to know is what were your emotions on that very last day of being Eren after like an 11-year journey with that character?
Yeah, it was bittersweet. Absolutely bittersweet. My goal with Eren and Attack on Titan was to try to feel what Eren was feeling. For me, the best way to connect with the character is to try to relate to them and put yourself through those experiences. And I was very lucky. Mike McFarlane, the director of the show, wanted something gritty and disgusting from the very beginning because that's kind of what I brought to the show. When Eren bites his hand in season 1, I bit my hand so hard I left bruises.
Wow.
In season 2, Eren's more unhinged than ever before. So I literally dislocated my jaw in the booth because I wanted the pain to come through.
Oh my God.
So when you saw me that day, I knew I was going into something pretty rough. I don't know if you saw me after the session, but I probably looked pretty bad. I think it was rough on the entire cast. What I love about recording at Crunchyroll HQ is you guys have really great snacks. There's like a really cool. Okay,
we do.
Snacks.
Shout out to the snack bar. I'm from out of town, so like I get in trouble for raiding that snack bar every time I come. And I walked out of that session, and like right after I recorded, I was like, I don't care what anyone says. I'm taking all of your gummy bears. And I just took I had like double fisting gummy bears sitting in the lobby, just like so beat up and destroyed, just like slowly eating gummy bears.
I need a Snickers.
Yeah, I was just like, I just need to get back to normal. So yeah, it was a bittersweet feeling. I took a lot of those emotions that I felt as Eren with me out of the booth, but I also felt really proud of what we had done over the last decade to be part of telling this story. It's literally been a life changer for me and for so much of the cast. And I've just been a fan of this show since the very beginning. I was lucky to even get the audition for the show. I would have been happy being guy who gets stepped on by Titan.
And there are many, and there are many.
There's so many. I'm like, come on.
Could have been several.
You could have had 300 credits just from that.
Just one of those guys.
Any guy who gets smashed or eaten, I would have been so happy. But to play Eren, it was just a dream come true.
Amazing.
It's legit.
Well, speaking of some of those memorable roles, there's a couple I want to mention, and then one that I selfishly want to mention because I'm a big fan.
Let's do it.
But so you've had a number of fan favorite roles over the years, right? Like that's no secret. Kirito in Sword Art Online. We talked about Inosuke. We talked about Eren, and a personal favorite of mine, which is Hokuto in Ranking of Kings.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows. So I'm just curious. Like, I know you had talked about the Black Sludge Coffee for Inosuke, but like, how do you prepare for roles like these? Mm-hmm. And then when they're different from each other, like, how do you balance preparing for those different roles?
Yeah, it's a tough thing to describe because there's not much preparing that we can do. When you're working on multiple shows and you're not the main character who's lived with that character for years and years, sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything that's out there. And in those moments, you just rely on the team and your director. And I was really fortunate in that one to work with Caitlin Glass, who's such a talented director as well. Shout out to Caitlin. I mean, she's awesome. And Hokuro is not a typical character that I would play. Again, I get to step in the booth and be something so different. And Caitlin kind of was my shepherd, guiding me through the performance. And all you do in those moments is try to live in the moment. You don't get scripts ahead of time. It's not like you can go back and table read and bounce ideas off other actors. There's no time for that. You step in the booth and you are by yourself. And you watch the show and you talk as your character's talking on screen. And it's the first time you're saying those words, first time you're seeing those moments. And you just take inspiration from what you're seeing and the director and just go and just be that character. So that's one of those moments where I just full on trusted her and I love what came through.
Yeah.
That's both intimidating and freeing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you have that ability to like let your creativity shine through and be free and express yourself in that way. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, I can't bounce ideas off other people.
Yeah.
It really is on me.
So what does a debrief kind of sound like, right? When you're working with a mic or you're working with Caitlin, like, and you're coming into this character, and like you said, you guys aren't all in a room together. So what is that moment like when you have to step into a room with just you and the director and you're like, okay, where are we going? Like, what is a debrief between voice actor and director like sound like?
I mean, it's different every time. Like, you don't know what you're getting into. Normally for me, I walk into the studio and the director's like, are you ready to scream today? And I'm like, always ready. I'm always ready. That's usually what it is. But it depends where you are in the story and which character you're playing. It could be as simple as, hey, we're in episode 567 of One Piece, and Luffy's kind of going down this prison. you're all the dudes in the background, so you're just a prisoner. Okay, and go. That's my my involvement in One Piece. Yes,
My brain's
in
like,
the show. I'm in the credits, guys. I'm there too.
And I'm
Sometimes
here.
it's that, and sometimes it's deeper. Sometimes it's talking about what your character's going to go through, and sometimes, like with Mike, it was a surprise. He did not tell me anything that would happen until the moment it happened. I wasn't spoiled in Attack on Titan. I never read the manga.
That's
Anytime I went to
crazy.
an event, I told people not to spoil me. People would be like, "What do you think about?" I'm like, "Wait, don't talk."
Wait.
You're like, earplugs.
So I successfully avoided spoilers for a decade.
Wow.
That's
And
awesome.
I did that on
That's
purpose.
impressive.
Yeah.
That was some
very
work.
impressive.
So Mike wouldn't tell me things until I needed to know them, even to the point where I was invited to Anime NYC when Isayama Sensei, the mangaka and creator of Attack on Titan, came to the US for the first time. And they were so secretive about it. They're like, "You want to be here?" I'm like, "Well, can you tell me a little more? I'm from
Right.
LA.
Why?
This is
Right.
New York. It's kind of far." They're like, "You have to be here." I'm like, I guess, "Okay. I'll sign all the NDAs. Can you just tell me?" They're like, "Just come." I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming." So Isayama Sensei had scheduled 15 minutes in his schedule to meet me and talk to me, which was such an honor to be able to do
So
that.
cool.
And I told him, "Hey, I haven't read the manga. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm in love with your work and this story and what it's the effect it's had on all of the people who have connected with it and watched it. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening." And all he said was, "Eren knows more than you." And that is the best
Dude.
answer.
Mic drop. Mic
The
drop.
best answer.
Chills.
And I had no idea what he meant. I'm like, okay, maybe Eren has a plan or Eren. I could never have guessed what he meant by
Wow.
that.
Do you feel like that worked to your advantage to not know things ahead of time? Like, do you feel like it made your reactions more genuine?
Yes, 100%. For that show, at least, it definitely did. Going in blind and having that feeling in the moment and whatever came out. That was the exciting piece and what I think really supported the performance.
Sorry, now we're going into me like just genuinely being a fan and asking questions, but
Do it.
I kind of want to know,
We're off
like,
script.
we are very on script.
The whole thing's off script. There's no script.
We don't need one. Throw it out, guys.
But I really want to know, was there a moment in the series that when you found out, like in the booth when you were about to record, absolutely blew your mind?
Like 100. so many moments. So many. The show is all about that. And I think if you're an anime fan that hasn't seen Attack on Titan yet, it is now the perfect entry anime. Because one, it's approachable. It has a start and a finish. You'll probably watch it in a couple days. Because for me, I couldn't stop watching. It becomes that perfect anime because it's approachable and like it has so many interesting twists and turns. And if you go in without knowing anything, you'll just get sucked into this world and fall in love. I've talked to people just randomly out who were like, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "Yeah, I work on like cartoons and video games and a good amount of anime." And they're like, "I don't really watch anime, but like what shows?" And I say Attack on Titan. They're like, "Oh, wait, Attack on Titan." Like they don't connect the dots that like
Right.
Yeah.
this
It transcends.
is
It transcends
anime.
the category.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what anime is.
Yep.
So I hope for people who haven't watched a ton of anime or are just dabbling and wanting something to recommend their friends to have them join on these adventures, Attack on Titan becomes that show.
Yeah, I mean, I know we got to move, but I got to ask this. What does it feel like being a part of a show like that? Like actually, like now that it's over.
A legacy now.
And and it's a legacy show now. Like what does that feel like knowing that you started something and ended something that is a foundational piece of anime? Like what does that feel like?
It's an absolute dream come true. I was lucky to even get the audition. My buddy Patrick Seitz,
Shout out
who's
to Patrick.
such a talented actor and director. I mean, he crushes it in everything he's a part of. I was hanging out with him at an event, and I was just like raving about how much I loved Attack on Titan and all this great stuff. And he got the audition. and said to Mike, hey, can my buddy Bryce loves this show. Can he read for you? And Mike allowed me to submit my auditions remotely, which was pretty rare in those days. I read for Eren, Armin, and Levi.
Wow.
Thought I might be considered for Armin because I typically play characters with a female Japanese counterpart. Because again, my voice hasn't changed since middle school. I wanted to play Levi because he's awesome, but I'm just not that cool. And I thought there is no way I could play Eren. There's no way I'm going to get chosen. That is literally buying the lotto ticket, even auditioning for the role. I could barely talk after the auditions because I pushed so hard. And that must have come through. So to go from that, screaming in my closet, because that's what I had at that time, a little closet booth, so loud that I think my neighbors called the cops, to where I am today of living through this entire journey for over a decade, really putting everything I could into it. Like it just a dream come true. And I really hope that it doesn't get lost in the shuffle, that it is that show that becomes the entry anime for anyone that's interested in the genre. It's such an incredible story, and it deserves to be that. And it's so cool to just be a part of it.
Definitely into the Anime Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I think we're going to shake it up a little bit. Have some fun. We've been a little emotional.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Eren gets that way, I know.
Yeah, so we are going to, if you're down for it, play a little game.
All right.
Called Name Your Character.
Oh,
so
I'm gonna
Bryce, we've talked about how you've been like prisoner number 3.
None of them are that hard.
None of them are that hard.
No. None of them are that hard.
Before we play, you know what I do? I go into the booth and I try to like immerse myself in these shows, and sometimes I walk out, I'm like, what do we just do, guys? Like, I don't remember anything that just happened. So, okay,
that's me
great.
every
Here
day
we go.
Just blacks
This is
out.
going to be great. This is going to be great television. It's going to
It's
be
gonna go
fun.
so well.
I also go into a fugue state. Okay, so now we are going to be playing a little game, and it's going to be called Name Your Character. So, of course, Bryce, you have, a million credits to your name. So we want to test your memory of some of those roles you might not remember as well.
Test your might.
and kind of test your memory a little bit. So we're going to name an anime you were in, and we want you to try and tell us the name of the character you portrayed. Are you ready?
Yes, here we go. Can Google be on my team? Because
we'll give you
Wikipedia is better at this than I am.
He's like pulling up another tab.
Yeah,
Right.
IMDb moment.
Google assist. Google assist.
All right, we're going to start with Pokemon Origins.
Ooh,
Name your character.
I mean, how can I get this one wrong? I picked Charmander first when I played Pokemon Red. I am Red, the OG Pokemon Master. And I have a complaint about him. He is too good of a Pokemon trainer. He caught all of them in 4 episodes. I wanted 25 years like Ash got. It's not fair.
Right.
Come on.
Listen, I have to give a shout out. Red from the Pokemon manga, Pokemon Adventures, is one of my single favorite characters in any media ever.
Oh, really?
So this is one of my favorites of the roles that you've played, because seeing Red come to life in an animated form like that was just so it was validating. Validating as a fan.
I agree.
Cool.
All right. How about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Oh. How could I forget my Family Guy-inspired Italian accent with Caesar Zappelli? You got to take inspiration from other places. So, and I mentioned, like, you're constantly auditioning, and sometimes you're just like, all right, I'm just going to try to make whoever's listening to this laugh. And I was watching Family Guy the night I got the audition for JoJo, and Peter does this really bad, like, boop-a-da-bop-a-da-beep-a. And I did that in the audition, and they're like, this guy!
We want that.
Caesar is the character that made me fall in love with JoJo's. And so to hear that like aligned, totally
It
reflects
fits
on
now.
Caesar.
It definitely fits now.
It's so right. I've done events overseas, and Italians, genuine Italians, have been there and been like, "Bro, what is that?"
Not you getting clocked.
The next one is hard. I think it's going to be
It's
hard.
a little bit of a
I think
curve.
the next one's going to be
And
hard.
it's kind of a trick question.
Uh-oh.
But Inazuma 11 Aries.
Oh, I'm a bunch of different characters. This is fun because this is another show that I share a role with Kaji-san, who's also Eren Yeager.
Of course, another
Meliodas,
icon living.
Seldris. I just remember, I'm blanking on his name. I know what he looks like. He's kind of like short and like heavier set, and he does like this fire tornado kick that's so awesome.
We're going to need a name, Bryce. We're going to need a name.
You're on the clock.
I will give
I'm
you
also
the.
a dude
I
with
can give you-
goggles. I know what they
Yes.
look like. And
So there's two roles here. What
Yeah,
if we
and-
gave you the initials for both of them?
it's not going to work. I'm so bad. I'm
It's not-
so
it's
bad
not
with
gonna
names.
work.
We're going to give you the point though because you described both characters.
Yeah.
See, I know.
So,
I remember being in the booth and like doing those things. I know moments around it, but like, yeah, that's very much a Google
Credit
thing.
to you
what was the
still.
answer to that one?
Jude Sharp
Jude, yes. And
and
then
Basil Hardy.
Basil. Ugh.
Yep.
How could I forget?
Mhm.
Because
All right, we'll move on to the next one. So here we go with some of the monster games.
Yeah.
Another selfish pick. I
Yeah.
put this one in here.
Love it.
I approve this pick.
Digimon Fusion.
Underrated.
Digimon Fusion.
There's
Okay.
two again.
Ooh. I
You
know
played
there's
two
like
Digimon.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, like especially when you're a character that's not there every episode, you
Mhm.
step in the booth, you're the character for a few minutes.
Yep.
And then you're done and you never see the character again. And you don't know
We're gonna
when you
need
can
a
talk
name.
about it. Okay.
You're on the clock.
I'm kidding. I'm totally
Okay.
teasing you.
Little
I can give you a
dinosaur
hint.
or big dinosaur?
I don't think either of these
I
are
don't
a
think either of them
dinosaur.
are dinosaurs.
One is
Whoa.
a mammal, a very common mammal. The
But
first
it's-
mammal is often mentioned with lions or tigers or
Whoa.
Lions
Guys,
and tigers and
this is Bearmon. Okay, yes. This is a thing. Thank you
We
for
need
the
to start
hint. That
doing
was a great
charades.
one.
and the other one is Coronamon.
Coronamon. See, that's who I was thinking of.
Okay, and then the last one, you mentioned being in the industry for 3 decades, so I think you'll be familiar with this one.
Trigun.
Yes, I do know this one because I've worked with the actor that plays Vash the Stampede a number of times. It's Johnny Young Bosch who plays Vash, and I actually play in the original Trigun, Young Vash.
Yeah, there you go.
All
You
of those
even got the young,
moments, yeah. And it's so fun to grow up and work with Johnny in shows like Blue Exorcist, where I'm the older brother. Ha ha, Johnny!
The tables have turned.
Oh, how the turntables have turned.
Old.
All right, well, as the first person to play this segment on the Anime Effect, we have to
pretty
say
good.
you are at the top of the leaderboard now. You
Yeah,
have
man.
set
Alright.
the record.
We're gonna
A
have to.
C. I got a C. It's pretty good, guys.
Now it's time for a fan favorite segment where we give our recommendations for the week. So, Bryce, let's start with you. I mean, what are you watching? What are you listening to? Or what are you playing right now that you think viewers at home should check out?
Well, I am so immersed in Blue Exorcist. I mentioned recording the show 12 years ago, season 1. We had to wait 5 years for the Kyoto Saga season 2, and then 7 years for season 3 of Blue Exorcist.
Ooh.
And I feel like I go into the booth and record these characters, and I leave feeling differently each time. Like with Eren, I would go in and be angry and then still be angry and yell at people in traffic. With Rin, he just makes me happy. And I leave every time I record as him just with a massive smile. I hope that happiness comes through in the performance. We have been laughing a lot during the recording process. And I really hope it comes through. So I have to recommend Blue Exorcist. If you have not seen it, start back in season 1, go on that journey, and you won't regret it. It is so good.
Awesome.
That's a good rec. Nick, do you want to share your recommendation for the week?
I need these. I'm ready for more shows.
I've talked about this one on the show before. I've been playing the game, but I did finish Sandland.
Nice.
Which is based on the Akira Toriyama manga. One shot. The anime kind of adapts the manga and also sort of expands the world. It was just really cathartic to experience a Toriyama work now.
Right.
And see just once in a generation character design and the way that these characters are written and the worlds and how deep the world building is from the jump. Like, that's how I feel about Sandland. Yeah, it's incredible. It's 13 episodes. I think it's streaming on Hulu. I totally recommend it. I also have to give a quick shout out on gaming to Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, which is actually the prequel to Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which just came out. This is the one that's considered the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series.
Oh, okay.
The 100 Heroes is. Rising is introducing you to that world through a half farm sim town management game / Metroidvania adventure game. It's on sale for $4 right now or something on Switch. So it's I've really been enjoying that. You'll see me playing that on the flight that we're taking.
Oh,
later
nice,
today.
nice.
Yeah, those are my recs.
Cool, very cool. Everyone knows I am a huge fantasy person. I've talked about Eren on this show, which is so good, one of my instant favorites. I've actually been playing, well, it's nothing new. I've been playing it for 6 years now. Elder Scrolls Legends of Skyrim.
I just knew you were going to bring up
I know. Well, I have a qualm.
Is this the trading card game?
It's a mix between Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, but it's all Skyrim themed stuff.
Okay,
be a hater.
Listen,
you got haterade in that club.
No, I think you do because you reactivated your gamer sub.
They don't know that. They don't know that. But I have been on a losing streak, which is crazy because I have spent so long building a deck I really love. I have an all Daedra deck and Daedra summoning deck.
Shout out to all the Daedra fans out there.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I love the Daedra decks. I love the Oblivion Gates. But I'm just on a losing streak. I've lost 20 games in a row, over the whole week.
Don't quit. It's that meme of the guy mining.
Yeah.
And then he stops right before he finds all the diamonds.
Exactly. But so relating that to anime, some other fantasy anime I've loved in the past are Overlord, Claymore, Fairy Tale, Sword Art Online.
Good choice. That's a good choice.
Plug.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very much into fantasy genre this week.
I will also echo Eren as well. Eren Beyond Journey's End.
So good.
Bryce, if you haven't seen it yet, it is true. I mean, it is one of the most original, pure fantasy stories that we've seen in quite some time.
Peak fantasy anime.
And the soundtrack is incredible. If you're a big soundtrack listener, I just popped that on and
shout out Evan Call.
Which is funny because I mute my Elder Scrolls Legends of Skyrim and I play the Eren soundtrack. So
it fits better.
There we go.
Nice.
But what about you, Lee? What are you into this week?
Megalo Box 2 Nomad. That has been my jam. Fell in love instantly. Mostly because growing up, I was not only a wrestling kid, but I love pro boxing as well too. Probably not so much into it now as I was the height of it. Yeah. Tyson and Lennox Lewis and stuff like that. But this story is absolutely phenomenal. Gives you Rocky IV vibes, especially because when you meet back up with Gearless Joe, he's out of the game.
He's going through it. And it just so happens that he runs into another amateur boxer. His name is Chief, who's trying to save his village. Best way to do it, win some fight money. Yep.
And Joe, who is not in any way, shape, or form ready to fight or available to fight, he's like, okay, you know what? I can't do it. I'll show somebody else how to do it. Again, where the Rocky IV comparison comes in. I'm about halfway through it right now, but man, like if it doesn't grip you from like episode one,
Yep. It's such a shift from, and I haven't finished season 2 either, but it's been on my list. But season 1 is one of my
so
all-time
good,
favorites. That is one of the best English dubs I've ever heard as well. I believe it's KG Von Tang plays Joe. If you haven't seen it, Bryce, that is another rec.
It's incredible.
At least start with season 1. It's so good.
I was just going to say, I'm a big fight fan. I love martial arts and Muay Thai and boxing was kind of like my specialty. Awesome. I'm going to have to check that out. And I got a recommendation of a fighting show for you guys.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Yeah. Check out Kengan Ashura.
I started watching that. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
It's so good, dude.
Cosmo Imai. And that's another dream role for me because I mentioned like I love boxing and Muay Thai and competed for years. But in jiu-jitsu, I'm very much a white belt. And to play the king of stranglers and to then go into jiu-jitsu and get strangled and choked out, like it's just so fun.
Okay, so that's my next. I mean, are you going to you got to tell us, Bryce, are you going to be in the crossover? Right. Are you in Kengan Ashura versus Baki Hanma?
Oh, I mean, looks like a cool show. I'll just say, looks pretty interesting. I'm definitely going to be checking it out.
All right, I think that's a place where we got to call it. Unfortunately,
maybe. I mean, I saw an announcement that it's coming out soon, so maybe watch and you'll find out.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
There are too many cats and too many bags.
Bryce, I think I speak for everyone. You are welcome back on the show.
Yeah, dude.
Anytime that you would like to be here.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hopefully in the future I can be there with you guys.
Yeah.
Out at Crunchyroll. And we can raid the snack bar together.
Yeah.
Yes.
No one can stop us. If we roll deep, no one can stop us.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
And if the recs that we just got from Bryce and us aren't enough, we also want to talk about the recs that you guys, the listeners and the viewers, sent in last week. Just a reminder, if you want your recommendation read on the show, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And also leave a comment on Crunchyroll, on YouTube, Twitter. Just, we'll see it. From Sir_laughs a lot on Crunchyroll.
Sir laughs a lot. You sound like a hoot and a half. Move past it.
My favorite go-to anime is The Land of Leadale. Press the button. It's an isekai. Shout out to the isekai button.
We have a listener amongst us.
I watch it almost daily or every other day, especially before bed. I've read all 8 volumes of the light novel and believe a second season could wrap it up. I've never heard it mentioned on the show, so just thought I'd put it out here.
Nice.
Well, there you go. Land of Leadale. I'll add it to my list.
I love that somebody is mentioning the isekai button too.
I know.
So it's amazing.
Let it take off. We need to sell physical
we gotta sell physical
buttons.
isekai buttons.
We've got from Zach Rom 1 on Apple Podcasts, who left a 5-star review.
Come on now.
Called The Go-To for your daily anime dose.
That is
Thanks,
so
Zach.
cute and sweet.
I love this podcast every Friday. I am always ready to know and jump into the world of anime. I have just started exploring new and OG anime as I am currently watching Naruto, Parasite Maxim, and for horror fans out there, especially Leah, I would definitely recommend Dark Gathering, which I believe is horror in its finest in anime form.
Very nice.
This podcast has really expanded me to open my eyes and really see what the power of anime really is. I'm going to cry.
Oh my
God. So awesome, bro.
I'm actually going to watch that. Thank you so much, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
No, I've been needing to get on that vibe back again because.
Am I just too widespread for people? Like, you guys have gotten recommendations and I feel like
you know what?
He just watches everything. He'll just get there.
The challenge this week, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts specifically mentioning Lee. I'd like to see at least one. Okay, so, and then our last one for this week from Dragon Brady Bear on Apple Podcasts, Going on an Ooting.
Yeah!
It just said going on an Ooting to the Spy Family movie.
Oh,
so
it's amazing.
Did you like it? Let us know.
Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, bro.
It hit theaters the day I left for my trip.
Oh, yeah, you were. Yeah. You're having your beach episodes.
I was having my beach episode.
It's great.
I wore my Anya shirt.
I just got a really cool Spy Family sweater from the Bait collection.
Oh, dude.
It's extremely, it's
penguin
like
one?
deathly hot in Texas right now.
Yeah.
It's the gray one with when she's playing, I think, dodgeball.
Oh,
You'll see
Yeah.
when we get to
Funny.
winter, I'll show you guys
yeah.
my fits.
Dude, yeah, I have absolutely 0% swag during the summer. Like, I don't like to dress for summer. I feel like
Dude, it's so
it's
hot
so
here.
hot,
Yeah.
and like I love a jacket. I love like dressing it up with
sweater,
a jacket,
sweatshirt.
layers. I love a collared shirt. And now it's like 100 degrees, and
I
Yeah,
know.
already.
I'm like t-shirt only.
But thank you guys for the Recs this week. Can't wait to see more of them.
All right, y'all. You know what time it is. Let's continue to hear from everybody because it is mailbag time.
Mailbag. What's our first question this week, y'all?
All right. First question is from @KoiBoy97 on Twitter.
Is he shy?
Maybe. Which trope do you gravitate towards more?
I'll tell you what I gravitate against. Misunderstanding plots. I can't. They're so frustrating, bro. And like the plots were like, it separates them for like years at a time and like snowballs into more problems. It's just like, oh my God.
And you're just like, it's so
just
easy.
so stressful. It's so stressful.
Just wrap it up, B.
But I love enemies to lovers.
Oh, okay. What about you, young Nicholas?
Let's see. I love a good internal monologue. I think Demon Slayer does this really well.
Yeah, it
There's a
does,
lot of
yeah.
like inner turmoil and I love it for exposition. I love a good will they won't they? Obviously
Yes.
from the
Of course,
rom-com
rom-com
corner.
Slow burn.
Kaguya-sama, great example of that. And then honestly, growing up on shonen, like I love a good power scaling. I love a
Yeah.
good you haven't seen my final form.
Yeah.
I now have long hair again. It's bad.
It's yellow.
How about you, Lee?
Man, to kind of echo that, like I'm never gonna beat the hero or shonen allegations. Like I'm not. I'm always gonna gravitate towards a shonen, whether it's reading or watching, even if it's like now like Kaiju and Windbreaker are like this just the apex for me right now, man, because it's two different sides of it, right? It's the Kaiju hero and then the
Schoolboy delinquent.
delinquent schoolboy hero, right? So I'm kind of but I feel like I've been in my bag the last couple seasons because we've had a lot of like great shonen.
Every season they're like, this one's for you.
right. They're like, hey, I'm like, yes. So yeah, that's the allegation I'm never beating is the shonen trope.
I love a revenge plot. Too.
Yeah,
Ooh,
revenge
good
stories
A
really good too.
revenge plot, or like you have to find out the answer, like a mystery plot.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or
Like
like-
Psychopath is great.
Psychopath is
at
great for that.
But even like Attack on Titan, since we were talking to Bryce, like
True.
yeah.
you play the detective through that whole
Yeah.
series.
That's true. Keeping a notebook.
With unreliable narrators and trying to.
We get it. You
figure out-
like Attack on Titan.
Undead
This is
Murder
the
Farce
Bryce
is good for that,
episode. You
too.
have. This is a Bryce episode. You have to
Play
to
the
humor
audience.
me. Yeah.
True. And I think we got another one for
We
this
do.
week.
Not Kristen 13 on Crunchyroll. A return. Here, hey.
Welcome back. Not
Um,
Kristen. I'm assuming your name's not Kristen.
Or it
Or
is.
it is, and
And we're
you're
just being okey doke.
Or you're throwing people off the set. Okay.
Sounds like a
Uh,
Finsta name or something.
I understand that Oren High School Host Club reference. And
Oh!
speaking of
Oh
that,
yeah,
Which
someone
one?
got
Yeah, yeah.
the which one of us is
Oh,
it?
which
Yeah.
one of us is Hikaru? Yeah.
and speaking of the anime, what anime that doesn't get a complete adaptation of the manga would you like to see be picked back up?
I mean, the easy one here is Soul Eater.
The easy,
Right,
the layup
that's the-
answer
that's
is
the
Soul
easy one
Eater.
here.
Yeah.
Also, or on High School Host Club.
Yeah,
is another one.
I think that's maybe why they submitted the question, because I was talking about like
Mhm.
it was something that the material wasn't there in the anime, so you have to go and then read the manga because it just like didn't catch up or something, or like they didn't continue through the series.
Yep.
Yeah. So my answer still stands.
Heck
That's
yeah.
an easy one for me.
Let's see. Wotakoi, Love is Hard for
Oh!
Otaku. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the show too, I think.
We have. And then because we talked about it earlier, Pokemon Origins. I know
Yep.
Pokemon Origins isn't exactly based on Pokemon Adventures, but if you know my online persona at all, it is in all caps, read Pokemon Adventures.
Yeah. I can confirm. Yes, it is.
I need, while I am on this mortal coil, to experience a front to back adaptation of Red and Blue
Mm.
all the way to
Mm.
Emerald.
Front
I
to
have
back?
to experience it.
Mm.
Front to back? Sheesh.
Also, if you haven't read it, Viz released these like really cool
it's got a
special
big
editions.
collection. Yeah.
They look great on a shelf. I'll have to send a picture.
It's not something that was. These two don't even have mangas to reference, but Metallic Rouge and Licorice Recoil, both two originals that I would love to see just the story continue.
Yeah, that wasn't the question.
It wasn't the question, but you could tell that the way that those left off is that there's more there.
For sure.
Especially in Licorice, because they alluded to there being an all boys like organization. So I'm gonna need a spinoff or like something.
I think they had confirmed that there's more coming. I just don't know that we know what it is.
Yeah,
yet.
same. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Show.
On top of Soul Eater. That's gonna always be my number one.
Soul Eater. I just Fire Force.
But also bring back Skate the Infinity.
Ooh,
Bring back Skate the Infinity.
hell yeah.
And bring back Princess Jellyfish.
I mean, I guess I can co-sign that. I haven't seen
Hashtag
it.
thumb and pinky.
Hashtag them pinky.
It's not gonna take off, bro.
All right, I think that does it. Lee, you want to take us out?
All right. Thanks for joining us for another awesome episode of The Anime Effect, brought to you by Crunchyroll and the folks over at Sony Music. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Crunchyroll presents The Anime Effect is hosted by me, Nick Friedman, LeAlec Murray, and also Leah President. Thank you so much for being here. We are executive produced by Jonathan Hirsch, Shara Morris, Alex Lawless, and, guys, I'm sorry to say this, it's me.
It's still you.
Nick.
Our lead producer is Kyla Carnero, and our associate producer is Zoe Culkin. Patrick Emile edited and mixed this episode's audio, and Tyler Lucas filmed and edited the video. Our head of production is Sammy Allison. Special thanks to Tamika Balance Kalasny.
We'll be back next week with even more anime, of course.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing.
Put the thing back wherever it came from, or so help me. So help me.
Bye.
Later days.